So I've closed thousands of high-ticket sales calls by this point, and I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I used to be terrible at handling objections. Like, I would get to the end of the call, I would present my offer, and I would feel like I crushed it. And then they'd just say they can't afford it, or they need to think about it, or talk with their wife, and I would completely fold. And I lost so much money because of this. But once I learned the actual framework for handling objections, not memorizing rebuttals, but actually understanding the psychology behind why people object, my close rate doubled, and I hit $30K per month. So this video is not a pitch. There's no webinar I want you to watch. You don't have to book a call. It's just me explaining the exact process I use on every call so you can stop losing deals right at the finish line. Alright, it's Luke McNaughton here, and in case you don't know me, I dropped out of college at 19, learned high-ticket sales, helped scale a company from 8K to 400K per month. Now I teach people how to make 10K per month plus online so they never have to worry about living on someone else's terms. If you're tired of the traditional path like I was, you're in the right place. First thing, objections are not rejection. When someone says, I need to think about it, or it's too expensive, they're not telling you no. They're saying that they're not ready to say yes yet. And here's what most salespeople don't understand. Objections are actually the first step in getting someone to close. Think about it. If they were completely uninterested, they wouldn't still be on the call. They would have hung up 20 minutes ago. Them still being around and giving you these different reasons is a sign of interest. The fact that they're sitting here at the end of the call, listening to you present the offer, asking questions, that means they want this. They're just scared or don't trust themselves to follow through. But the desire is there. The need is there. And so when someone objects, or when they say, I need to think about it, or whatever it is, what they're really saying is, I need your help to get me past this fear so I can say yes. And that's really all an objection is. And once you understand that, you stop panicking, you stop pushing so hard, you stop getting defensive, and you really just help them walk through it and choose the best option for them. Now, here's the thing that changed everything for me. There's really only about 5 objections that make up 99% of what you'll ever hear on a sales call. And they all come from the same root cause. So let's break down the main objections that you'll ever hear. I call it punta. Price? It's too expensive. I can't afford it right now. Urgency. Let's do this in a few months, or let's revisit this in a few months. Need. I don't know if I need this. I don't know if this is the right fit. Trust. I don't know if this is going to work. I tried other things similar to this and they didn't really help me. Authority. Let me talk with my wife. I need to talk with my business partner. And those are the 5. That's it. But here's what nobody tells you. These objections are all smoke screens. When someone says, I can't afford it, they're not really worried about the money. They're worried about wasting the money on themselves. When someone says, I need to think about it, most of the time they're not going home to think about it for an hour. They just don't trust you enough to buy yet. When someone says, I need to talk with my wife or my business partner, a lot of the times that's just so they don't have to say no to your face. But all of these come from the same root cause. Every single one. Fear. They're afraid that it's not going to work for them. They're afraid that they're not going to follow through. They're afraid that they can't make it work. And so you're really not overcoming logical concerns most of the time. You're really just helping them get out of their own way. Alright, so tactically, how do you actually handle objections when they do come up? Well, here's the exact framework I use. First, acknowledge it. Don't fight it. Don't get defensive. Don't immediately try to overcome it. Just acknowledge it. If they say, I can't afford it right now. Yeah, totally. Money's a real concern. I totally respect that. If they say, I have to think about it. Yeah, of course, this is a big decision. I understand. And what you're doing here is you're showing them that you're not pressuring them for this decision. You're on their side. Now you need to isolate it. And here's where most people mess up. They acknowledge the objection and then they just let it sit there. But you have to figure out if that was the real objection or if there's something else deeper. So you say, okay, so just so I am clear, if money wasn't a problem, is this something you'd want to move forward with? And one of 2 things will usually happen. Either one, they say, oh yeah, for sure, I love everything else, whatever. Or the second is they say, oh, well yeah, but I would still need to think about it. And then you know there's something a little bit deeper and you gotta keep digging. Now bring it back to the real reason behind the objection and help them see it differently. So you tie it to their pain and goals that they talked about earlier that you uncovered. Well, earlier you told me pain point, and if you didn't do anything about it, consequence would happen. So what's changed between then and now? Now tie it to an analogy or a metaphor to help them see their situation objectively. For example, if they said, I need to think about it, you might say, well, if a doctor said you needed surgery to solve a real problem, would you want to wait or solve it before it gets worse? And doing this helps them see their situation from a different angle and helps them understand. Now, let them talk. And this is the most important part. After you ask these questions, shut up. Don't keep talking. Don't try to clarify your question. Just let them sit with it. And often, they'll just walk through the objection themselves. They'll be like, well, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm just scared. I know I need to make this change. And now you're not overcoming an objection. You're just helping them make the decision they already wanted to make. So here's what happens when you actually master this. First off, your close rate goes up, obviously. But more than that, you stop losing sleep over objections. You stop feeling like you need to memorize 50 different rebuttals because you understand that objections aren't about you. They're about the prospect working through their own fear. And when you can help someone get out of their own way, not only in sales, but in life, you become way more valuable. This isn't just a sales skill. This is a life skill. Your friends are going to come to you with their problems, and you're going to be able to help them see past their BS. Your family is going to ask for your advice, and you're going to know exactly what questions to ask. This compounds in every area of your life. But in sales specifically, you're not going to be walking away from calls anymore thinking, man, I had them, but then they said they needed to think about it, and I lost them. You're going to be making way more in commissions, you're going to be closing more deals, and you're going to feel way more confident on every single call. So look, objections are part of the game. You're never going to eliminate them completely, but if you shift how you see them and how you handle them, that's when everything changes. Alright, so that's that. Look, if you're watching this, still sitting on the sidelines, wondering what to do, or jumping between a bunch of different things, I put a link in the description. And I'm not trying to be harsh here, but every month you stay in the exact same spot, you're losing money. And I'm not just talking about the money going out, I'm talking about the money that you're not bringing in. That's the real cost. Look, the link isn't some $5,000 course or a 2-hour pitch disguised as a webinar. It's me explaining exactly how I can help you get placed in a high-ticket sales role so you can start making actual money. And look, you don't have to click it, but if you're tired of wasting time while others are hitting $20,000 to $30,000 a month like clockwork, it's there for you. And if you got value from this video, hit the like button. It genuinely helps push it out to other people who need it also. Drop a comment with any questions or what you want me to cover in the next video, and subscribe if you want more real content about breaking into sales and building actual freedom. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.